Hello, everybody. Pastor Randy here. Welcome to Make It Simple. Great to have you with me today. Hope you're doing great. Hope you had a good weekend. And for everybody that it applies to, ladies only, happy Mother's Day. We talked about last week. I came to you and so we're going to start a brand new teaching series this week. Come and get out of the boat. That's our next invitation. We're just coming out of Come and Be Challenged. Well, Pastor Randy, that sounds like a pretty big challenge. Get out of the boat, because you're talking about walking on water. That was a physical act that happened with Peter. But actually, what we're looking at a much broader perspective here is faith. How does that work? When we hear the word exercise, okay, immediately what do we think of? Some type of physical activity, right? Going to the gym, walking, jogging, whatever the case. But what does that word mean? The word exercise actually means putting into action, use, operation, or effect. In other words, doing something with it, to exercise it, to put it to use, to put it into action, to really do something with it. In other words, it's beyond just talking about it. It's not just words, it's actually doing something. So I want us to talk about this in our context of come and get out of the boat as it pertains to our faith. You see, Peter was challenged by one word, come. But what was the exercising of that? It was to put his faith in action. It was to physically not just get up, but to actually put one foot in front of the other, step over the bow of the boat and onto the water. Exercising our faith is vital if we intend for it to grow. See, when things lay dormant, they typically don't grow. When things lay dormant, sometimes, if we're really honest, they die or they become weak and unusable. The believer should make exercising our faith a priority. Now, does that mean that we want to be tested every day? No. But does life test us on a continual basis? Yes. We read in our introduction that I gave you last week from Matthew, and this very familiar story, of Jesus walking on the water. He's meeting the disciples out. They're concerned, they're fearsome. This text is significant. It's so much more than just the picture itself of, artist rendition of Jesus walking on the water and whatever. There's so much more to this, as is with most accounts in the Bible. We have to look at the whole picture. What was being taught? Because indeed, within the confines of Scripture, everything is a lesson. It is God's lessons and letters to us to teach. We miss this. We do. And I say this as this is from my pastor's heart, okay? When it just simply is accounts and events, Bible stories, religion, theology, whatever the case, we miss the context. What does it mean? That's what's important. What does it mean to me? What does it mean to you? What is the personal application here? We've got to look at the whole picture to see this. We've got to set the scene to understand. We have to go back, okay, to what had just happened. Okay, so another famous Bible account, the feeding of the 5,000. Now, I mentioned this the other day, and again, that actual number is much bigger than that, simply because if we read the Bible, if we read the text, read that scripture, it says there was 5,000 men. But they were traveling with their families, so there were maybe 15 or 20,000 people there. There was a lot, okay? This was a miracle in and of itself. just a few pieces of bread, a few pieces of fish, and everybody was fed until, Scripture says, until they were full. And then there were 12 baskets of leftovers because the disciples, they doubted it too. How are we going to do this? How are we going to have enough money? And how, and how? Oh, what about me? And Jesus, once again, had to show them, you got to trust me. You've got to understand what I'm trying to teach you. So, without a question, what they had witnessed, they had seen so many incredible moments and opportunities. If anybody should have never doubted Jesus ever again, it would be these guys, right? Because they literally saw it with their eyes. However, at the end of this event, Jesus tells them, okay, I'm going to go off over here and pray and spend just a few minutes by myself. You guys hit the boat, go to the other side, and I'll see you later. Well, they did that. They got in the ship, and they're sailing across the sea. Jesus went on to do his thing, to be alone, pray. This was a very normal thing. He did that a lot. So we find the disciples in this story, they are obedient. They've done what they've been asked to do, but a storm has come along. Friends, what is that a picture of? It's life. You got up this morning and you've got your day planned out. You're going to work. You're going to drop the kids off at school, or you're going up, whatever your day consists of, and things are going along okay. And then all of a sudden, they're not. You got that phone call you didn't want to get. You got that letter in the mail you didn't want to get. You got that email or that text that, stirred up your whole day. That's life. Things are just going along. Everything seems okay. And then all of a sudden, the wind starts to blow and the rain kind of starts hitting the roof a little bit harder. And sometimes there's damage. We're hanging on for dear life. We're wondering, are we going to make it? I can tell you personally, I've been in that storm most recently because there's a lot of pressure and a lot of concern and thoughts, not worry, but concern and thoughts about certain things personally that I'm having to deal with, whether it's family health matters, financial matters, transitional matters, all different types of things, trying to figure it out. And sometimes it seems to be a bit much. The disciples here are a picture of what we do every day. We're trying as believers to do what Jesus has asked. We're trying to live in that way, and now troubles come. What is that for? Why? I mean, I've done things, I've tried to do things the right way. But Jesus said, if you follow me, you shall have tribulation in this life. So in other words, it's kind of an expectation, this testing of faith. In other words, do you really trust me? Do you really believe? Do you really believe? Because the disciples that said were exceedingly fearsome. They were concerned. They were even thinking, "Oh my goodness, this is a ghost," or this. I mean, they had all these different things, and there's other accounts, written of similar events where they, they're, "Oh, we're going to die. Don't you care?" And Jesus said, "Where's your faith? Have you forgotten everything already? I mean, you do remember everything you've seen, right? And you do remember that I'm actually in the boat with you." In other accounts, now this one, he's not in the boat, but he's in their presence. He's in their visibility. They can see him. We do that. Things are fine until they're not. And then we're wondering, okay, what am I going to do? I need a little encouragement. I need a little faith booster, if you will. I need something to show me it's going to be okay. But we need to remember all the other times that we didn't think it was going to be okay, and it was. He's always there, friends. It's like the old song says, he's always there, hearing every prayer, faithful and true. So we see the disciples, they needed that encouragement too. They needed that calming, and Jesus met them right where they were, literally. And in that particular time, it was out on the water. It was right in the middle of the storm. The key to all of this is faith, and the exercising of that faith, the putting it into action, if you will. Because again, they had just witnessed this incredible, powerful miracle, many of them, healings and all these incredible things. They knew what he was capable of. They knew who he was. They had said that many times over, that they knew. They called him Christ. They knew he was Messiah. But in the middle of the storm, that faith began to waver. That faith began to be tested by doubt that had now set in, because fear came to the forefront of their minds. You're saying, wow, that sounds familiar. I struggle with that from time to time. Don't we all? This is where our lesson is going to stop today. The story of Peter walking on the water is an exercising of faith. Maybe today you're in the middle of that storm. Maybe you set sail this morning, or maybe last week, and everything seemed okay, and then all of a sudden it wasn't. In the midst of that storm, your concern, your worry, your doubt has overcome you with fear. Now thinking, how in the world am I going to do this? How am I going to make it? And we begin to ask all these questions. Jesus is standing right there within our visibility, within our realm, and he's saying, come. You need to be with me. The invitation here is come. Get out of the boat. I'll be with you. It's okay. The exercising of that faith. That is not to say that we're not going to be challenged. That is to say, are we going to trust it? And in order to do that, we actually have to use it. And the more we use it, the stronger it gets. We'll pick back up on this tomorrow as we look at the continual momentum of this story and what it means, why it's important, why it has relevance right now, and why the exercising of our faith as a believer is vital to life on this side of glory. God bless you. I'll see you tomorrow.